Hey, welcome back. Today, we're diving into something that, honestly, is kind of mind-blowing. It's this idea that our smallest, most ordinary actions, the things we do every day without even thinking, can have these massive, even cosmic consequences. So let's just jump right in with a pretty wild question.
I know, it sounds almost ridiculous, right? How could a task as simple as setting up chairs possibly shape the future of an entire nation? Well, believe it or not, our very first story is going to suggest that's exactly what can happen. Let's dig in.
All right, so for our first case study, we're going way back. We're talking about Joshua, who is the right-hand man to the great leader, Moses. And we're going to look for the real key to his greatness. So, you might be wondering, what was this incredible secret to Joshua's success? Was it some grand, heroic act? Nope. It was something way simpler. It was a consistent, daily task that anybody else could have done. He would just arrange the benches and spread the mats in the very room where Moses would teach.
And this right here, this is the crucial difference. You see, where other people might have seen this as just, a boring chore, a bother, Joshua saw something else entirely. For him, it was a profound honor, a great merit. It was all about his perspective.
And here's where the story takes an incredible turn. The sources tell us that it was precisely because he poured all his energy and devotion into this one small task that God saw him as the only person fit to take over from Moses and lead the entire nation. Just think about that for a second. Arranging benches. That was the thing that qualified him for greatness.
Okay, so we've seen how a physical act can have this huge impact. Now let's shift gears a bit. We're moving from one person to a whole crowd, and from a physical job to a really powerful, shared emotion. This is the mystery of the weeping crowd. So picture this. It's Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. It's also known as the Day of Judgment, so it's a very solemn, serious day. The priest, Ezra, is reading the Torah to everyone gathered, but something unexpected happens. The entire crowd just breaks down and starts to weep.
So what on earth did they hear that caused this reaction? Well, the reading was a story about Abraham. Now you have to remember, Abraham is seen as the pillar of kindness and mercy. But in this particular story, he actually expels his own son Ishmael for his misdeeds. He sends him out into the wilderness with just a little bit of bread and water.
And hearing this sent the people spiraling. Their logic went something like this. Wait a minute. If Abraham, the ultimate symbol of kindness, could act so harshly toward his own son, what chance do we have on the Day of Judgment? You can just feel their despair, right? It was totally overwhelming. But then there's a twist. The leaders, Ezra and Nehemiah, they come forward and tell everyone to stop crying. They say, "This day is holy. Do not be sad, for rejoicing in the Lord is the source of your strength." So what's going on here? If their fear seems so logical, so justified, why on earth were they being told to rejoice? It's a huge puzzle, and we're going to come back to it.
All right, let's look at our third case study, because now we are really upping the stakes. We've gone from actions on Earth to things that can literally impact heaven itself. This is the incredible case of Rabbi Meir.
Okay, check out this sequence of events. First, the problem. In heaven, the teachings of the brilliant Rabbi Meir are being silenced. Why? Well, because he had learned from a known heretic. But then, generations later, another rabbi on earth speaks a single sentence in his defense, and the result? The heavenly decree is instantly reversed. How is that even possible?
Well, this was the defense. It was this beautiful metaphor. Rabbi Meir found a pomegranate and ate its contents while throwing away its peel. In other words, he was smart enough to take the good stuff, the wisdom, the fruit, from his teacher and discard all the bad stuff, the peel, the heresy.
The takeaway here is just the sheer power of this. I mean, think about it. One sentence, spoken by one person on earth, had the immediate power to change the dynamics in heaven itself. It actually altered a divine decree. That is a truly staggering concept.
So we've seen a physical act, a collective emotion, and a spoken sentence, and they all had these enormous, outsized consequences. But why? How does all this actually work? Let's finally get to the cosmic why behind it all.
It all comes down to this really profound ancient concept, which you could translate as this across from that. And the core idea is pretty simple, but powerful. The world is built on a system of balances. For every single force, God created an equal and opposite force.
So, to make this idea a little more concrete, the source gives us a perfect example. Prophecy versus idolatry. Prophecy is about connecting to the forces of holiness and purity. And what's its perfect mirror image opposite? Idolatry, an attachment to impurity. They are two sides of the exact same coin.
And here's where it gets really interesting. This balance has real consequences. The sages tell us that at one point, they managed to remove the impulse for idolatry from the world. But when they did that, something else happened at the exact same time. The power of prophecy vanished too. It's like a cosmic seesaw. You can't just take the weight off one side and expect the other side to stay put.
Okay, so we've talked about arranging benches, ancient tiers, heavenly decrees, and cosmic balance. But what does any of this have to do with us, right here, right now? Let's bring it all home and see what it means for you.
So just to recap, we've seen 3 incredible examples of hidden power, right? We saw it in a simple physical task, a shared emotional outburst, and a single spoken sentence. Each one is pointing to a much deeper truth about how our world works.
It turns out, our world is this incredibly fine-tuned system of cosmic balances. And this finally brings us back to that weeping crowd. Why were they told to rejoice on the day of judgment? Because their despair, as logical as it felt, was a powerful force that was tipping the scales towards judgment and severity. Their act of rejoicing wasn't about ignoring reality. It was the necessary counterbalance. It was their small act designed to inject joy and mercy back into the cosmic equation on a day that literally hung in the balance.
And that really brings us to the final thought. The next time you do something that feels small, whether it's setting up a chair, offering a kind word, or just choosing how you react to something, remember this balance. And maybe ask yourself, what hidden power, what cosmic weight lies in your next small act?